It seems only like yesterday that I was speaking in Bundeena opposed to hunting in our national parks. We've been fighting this government, O'Farrell, Baird, Berejiklian, you name them, they're the same lot ever since they got into power. They have stripped our biodiversity regulations from the Office of Environment and Heritage. They've crashed the morale of NPWS. They've threatened us with allowing amateur shooting in. They've stripped us of our staff, and now they're doing deals behind our back over the F6. Let me go through a few of the things here to give you a feeling. And let me be honest, I'm going to read Lee's bits to you. He begins, after his saying he won't be able to make it, with the New South Wales Government has allocated $15 million in the 2017-18 budget for planning work for the F6. That doesn't sound to me like the Sydney Morning Herald was wrong when what they said in the newspaper the other day on June the 17th came out. It was right, the RMS does intend to build the F6, and it would appear that the Sydney Morning Herald report that the RMS intended to soften us up was with a message of splitting us between houses and parks was also correct. He also goes on in the next dot point to say the government announced in December 2016 a further $20 million had been provided to carry out geotechnical testing and other development work in relation to the project. But where, anywhere, is there an indication as to the location of this geotechnical testing project? We've been asked to just accept it on trust, and then they will consult with us after they've done this work. Do not be fooled. If you read the leader the other day, you will have noticed that Mark Speakman let a little bit out that perhaps he shouldn't have. He said, if there was a need to use any part of the Royal National Park, it would be compensated for by additions to the park. Now I'm wondering where those additions might be. They've already decided to try to carve up the bit that we all thought was part of the park, the Spring Gully bit. They've already offered the Garrawarra lands because they took a bit of Ku-ring-gai Chase for the expansion of a rifle range. They've already indicated that you can go ahead down in Helensburgh and do what you will. I'm just curious as to what he thinks would be adequate compensation for splitting our park and dividing us further. Despite his assurances, I also have it on good authority, and don't ask me where, that he met with the members of the National Parks and Wildlife Service and discussed this concept with them directly, well and truly last year. This has been going on secretly. People were sworn to cabinet confidentiality, that they would not mention that these discussions were going on, and yet they have been. This is a stitch up from a government that you cannot trust. Further geotechnical, sorry Lee, I better read your next point. Further geotechnical investigations are being carried out to determine rock and ground conditions. Notice he's starting to repeat himself. Note, the government has also instructed our transport officials to ignore public transport alternatives to motorways. You don't deal with that. No, the government said, keep it quiet, don't talk about it. We're not going to discuss that. Lee says, geotechnical investigations will inform further development and feasibility work. The F6 extension is still in an early development stage. He said that 3 times now, so he's running out of points. Community consultation? Funnily, the maps of the proposed routes were taken off the RMS website the day after the story broke in the Sydney Morning Herald. He then says, no decision has yet been made regarding the final alignment of form of the proposed F6 extension. Therefore, it's too early to speculate on the final cost. If we wait, it'll be too late. Do not let anyone tell you to wait and trust government. Then he says the government has not yet decided when corridor recommendations will be made. The community will continue to be kept informed at key stages of the project. Do you feel like you have been kept informed so far? And finally, he says, as you can see, the story in the Sydney Morning Herald and subsequently in the Leader has unduly upset our community.
Oh, dear, dear.
I think he might feel a bit upset that we're angry with him. And then he finally adds, the leaked document was from a discussion paper back in 2013 and has had no bearing on current planning. Lee, where are you to explain yourself? Why was it that you also mentioned that you have spoken on behalf of the RMS, with the RMS on several occasions over the years, and not once have you told the community? He then adds, nice of him, I hope the meeting goes well and you have been armed with correct information. I have been honest, I've read every word he said. And this will clear up angst in our community. Please, let him know how well. Phone him. Tell him in person what you think of his project. Tell him in person what you think of his government. Tell him in person that Royal is not to be damaged by any F6 corridor. Thank you.